Welcome back, guys, to mini-sode number 29, I think. We are going up. We're going up on these mini-sodes. And that's not a bad thing. I don't think so. I think there's always room for some thought. And you guys know, if you remember last week's mini-sode, I did say, oh, maybe I'm going to change the name. Maybe. I still don't know. I'm still not sure. But I do still like coming back here and talk my little present moments with you guys. And I'm actually very, very present today with something um that I've avoided just for a couple of days really. And I finally came around to it. And I tuned in to this little, not a little thing, it was a huge thing actually, guys. But the moment itself, it just something so precious, right? And so I wanted to come today to talk about, something that might be a little heavy to some of y'all, but maybe not. The whole concept of this mini so today is basically about taking chances. And especially about taking your chance with love and with people who, not people, because y'all shouldn't be like, well, no. I mean, if you could fall in love with more than one person and each person is okay with that, so be it. Rock the fuck out with it. But I mean, like really embracing love and not being afraid of it. And I'll explain to you guys in a little bit why I'm so present with this. But I do feel that as a woman who is in her mid 30s and has encountered a few different type of people in the dating world and in the relationship world, and has just been very observant to certain things that have been going on around her. I am a firm believer that as long as two people love each other, they should fight for their relationship. As long as two or three people, let me be fair. Um, as long as y'all love each other and as long as there's still love, you fight. You fight to be together to make your relationship work. You don't just give up. And I'm also a very firm believer that if you feel like you've given it your all and you feel that it's time to walk away, then you walk away. And you don't have regrets on that either, right? And I say this to say because as cliche as this may sound, and it's not going to be morbid, I promise, but the truth is, and the fact is, like, life is so very long and yet so very short. Like, I could still sit here and I could still think to myself and be like, damn, when I'm 50, like, yo, when I'm 50, that's going to be 15 years from now with God's blessings, of course. Like, there's still so much life to live, right? There's still so much to look forward to. And yet, life is so short because that shit could just end in any given second for anybody, right? I have been avoiding for a couple of days to listen to Vanessa Bryant's speech. The late Kobe Bryant has just been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I'm very present with this because, as we all know, as the whole world knows, Kobe was lost to a huge and major tragedy that was just so heartbreaking. And if, if the fact that, we lost a great one was not enough, you know, with a lot of other people in this tragedy, it was also his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. And so when we think about, who survived him, and of course, who survived Gianna, and of course, his daughters, her sisters, and then there's his wife, her mom. And when it was their service, Vanessa gave this speech that, if there is ever any fuck it, like what is like the greatest badge of honor, like for somebody of strength, of my goodness, like I cannot imagine her heart. I cannot imagine her pain. I will never be able to understand it. But something that, you know really just stayed with me, and finally choosing to see the speech that she gave for the Hall of Fame, um it was just her messaging. where she says to him towards the end of the speech that she will love him always and that he loved her enough for, countless lifetimes and that she will always choose him. And for me, it's like, I get it. I fucking get it. Like, I'm in my mid 30s and I'm no Vanessa Bryant, right? And listen, I'm sure I'm not going to meet the next Kobe, right? But I am someone who has been faced with the reality that as much as I do want to find my partner, to be able to have a partner that's going to meet me in the space of what I need and what I want from life, and hopefully it coincides with that partner, um I'm shitless scared of it. Like, as much as I want to embrace being in love and falling in love, like, some of us are scared of that shit. Some of us are really scared of what it's like to love another individual. And I mean, really love. Like, the type of love that is supposed to be forever. And all of this just came to me because for her to say, and I'm sure she's not the first and only person who has ever said this after losing a partner, a spouse, a best friend, um, that it's enough for countless lifetimes and she will always choose him, right? Like, for me, it's like, it's that type of love. Like, so many of us want to look forward to someday feeling, someday experiencing, right? And we call on it and we put it out to the universe and we manifest it. But how many of us are really willing to welcome it? How many of us are really willing to understand what till death do us part really means? How many of us are really able to understand that, maybe someday, the person won't be there, but your heart is still feeling the same love. And that can easily go from a sense of happiness and pure joyfulness, um, to pain, to sadness. Like, I don't know if we understand all that we really are saying that we're going to do when we're choosing to love someone or people. And we're saying all that we're willing to sacrifice. We're saying all that we're willing to put on the table. We're saying we're willing to face. When we think about the love that we have to have for our children, for those of us who are parents, right? Like, that's quote unquote unconditional love, right? And it's like, it made me think, like, does that type of a love with a partner exist where that too can be unconditional? Do we see that these days? I hear a lot of people sometimes say, I'm having trouble with this person, my relationship with them, but I stay with them for the kids. And sometimes I sit there and I'm like, damn, should I have tried a little harder? Should I have done that for my child? Should I have just stayed? Should I have just figured out a way to make it work for my kid? Breaking all my rules, do you still love the person? Is it still worth fighting for? Etc., etc., etc. I am a divorcee. I am someone who has experienced divorce, who has experienced heartbreak, and I've never been the type to be a cynic about it. I've always been okay with being in a relationship, trying to see if it'll work with this person. I've done the casual thing. I've done the whole less than casual thing. I've done the whole life. And listen, you guys are going to hear it on this week's episode, the next two actually. Like, I am looking forward to a grown woman summer, where I get to do my shit and still be grown about it, where I get to really get out of my comfort zone with other aspects in my life. And let's see if I put myself in certain places, being that I'm going to be without my child. And low key, but very high key, but still low key. Somewhere inside me, I'm a little hopeful that, maybe I'm putting myself in different places. Maybe in me going out there more. Maybe in me putting myself in a different mindset, in a different approach. I may just be able to encounter different type of people, different type of potential partner, different type of complement to what my life is and what my life's desires are. And when I see a speech like that, and again, it's a tragedy. Again, I'm no Vanessa Bryant. Again, I'm not going to have the next Kobe. Let's face it. But I do know that that level of love that that person has for her spouse who's no longer here is, while very scary, that could happen to anybody at any given moment, I do realize that it's something that's worth it. And I realize that in my mid 30s, while I am absolutely scared of it, and I talk all my shit that I want another baby and I want to get married again. And then some days I'm like, I don't want to get married again. Oh my God, no, I just want a partner. And, I'm on the back and forth. It is because of fear. It is because sometimes I do fear it. It is because many of us sometimes do fear what comes with all of that, especially, I believe, the wiser we get and the older we get and the transitions we face at our type of ages, our type of age range, I should say. But I do think it's worth facing all that fear, facing all those risks, all those sacrifices, facing all those changes when you are truly and really in love with someone, and you get to at least experience it, and you get to at least say it. Yeah, I've lost, but I loved, and I loved hard. And it's just something that just sat with me. It took me a couple of days to be able to watch that speech because I knew it was going to have me crying hysterical. And it did. And I'm not going to show you guys how hysterical it is. There's totally video footage. I totally sent it to my best friend. And I told the bitch, like, I finally watched it and I'm hysterical. But man, is it worth it? And I feel for her. I feel for anyone who has had to face that type of a sudden tragic loss of a loved one, of their lover and best friend, of their partner. I feel for them. Again, I cannot imagine what that's like. And with her in particular, and losing her daughter too, that's another level of pain that she is trying to hold herself up from for her other children. But to be able to still pull through an entire speech and still be able to see her brighten up and still be able to see her be so happy is because she did lose him, but she's loved him. She was loved. And I think where I am today and so present with it is really learning how to face certain fears that come with the reality of so much that I want with a potential partner, with a potential candidate, with a future family, a bigger family, and facing all of that and being able to really embrace all of it, really let it all come in if it comes, really welcome it so that I could love again. And that's my thought for this week's mini-sode, guys. I don't know, it just stood with me. I've been present with it. It was weighing a little heavy, just a tiny bit, but it just filled my heart up, and I just felt like I wanted to leave this on the mic with you guys on a small dose, on a dose for the soul, with a mini-sode. And as always, guys, it's a pleasure coming to you guys with my present moments, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.